Hey y'all, Nikki from Mom of All Things. So I wanted to show y'all how I went ahead and made my homemade bread. These are the ingredients that you're gonna need. 2 cups of warm water, not hot because you're gonna kill your yeast now. Half a cup of sugar. You can also cut the sugar if you got dietary reasons, but for this recipe I use half a cup of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast, you can use instant yeast as well, 6 cups of bread flour, all-purpose flour is fine. Make sure you sift it, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 cup of oil. Any oil like vegetable oil or neutral oil or avocado oil, right? Right. So let's work on that yeast. You're going to get your active yeast in a large bowl combined with warm water, like from your regular tap, sugar, and yeast. You're going to stir gently, and then you're going to let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes until it get like that foamy color over there, right? If the mixture don't foam, the yeast is inactive and it should be replaced, okay? You done did something wrong, abort the mission, and start over, all right? Alrighty. So you see my sifted bread flour. We're making bread, so we're using bread flour. All right. I like to use White Lily or King Arthur. This particular one is White Lily. You can use Walmart or whatever store brand, you know. But King Arthur or White Lily is what I prefer to use. But use whatever you want to use. Bread flour is best. Okay, slowly add your yeast to the water, to the flour. Because don't be like me or you're going to have a flaky thing and you're going to have to troubleshoot. But I'll show you what to do with troubleshoot, okay? As you see, I'm not using a stand mix. I'm using my hand because everybody ain't able, okay? And if y'all got EBC food stamps or y'all on a fixed income or whatever, you can do this as well. Because, you know, for a fraction of the cost, get out them folks' store. Because they trying to, you know, if you give somebody a fish, you'll feed them for one day. But you teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. You know what I'm trying to teach y'all how to fish right here. I'm trying to teach you how to fish, okay? This dough can be used for pizza dough, biscuits, bread, whatever. Teaching y'all a thing or two. Let me learn you something, okay? All right. All right, so we on step 2. This is how we making our dough, right? You're gonna add your yeast and you're gonna add your oil at this point, right? You're gonna take your clean hands now. Well, you know, you eating it, so if you want to use dirty hands, you know, do what you want, do as you please. Anyway, so make sure all your surfaces are clean. That surface is clean. I know you see my bar stools, but you know, we clean our surface. It's clean. It's clean over here. Get a wooden spoon. I'm using a wooden spoon because you don't want that metallic taste. Now, what I did, I poured my phone was about to die and all these things. So I had poured my liquid in there a little bit too fast, and it absorbed into my flour a little too fast. So I ran into a little bit of trouble. And I pretty much made a biscuit dough at this point because it got a little too flaky. And, you know, players mess up too. But if this happens, you don't see it yet, but it's getting too flaky. At this point, I knew I had messed up, but it's okay. Don't panic. If you get right here and you see that you have messed up, do not panic. Right? What you need to do is stop adding flour immediately. Wet your hands lightly with warm water. Knead the dough, letting the moisture from your hands absorb into it. Repeat once or twice. Small amounts only, okay? What you're looking for is the dough should come together into one smooth mass, all right? It should feel soft and pliable, not crumbly. Slightly tacky is okay. Sticky, okay? Do not dump extra water directly into the bowl. The hand wetting method adds moisture gradually without breaking the dough. This works best for bread flour because it absorbs slowly, all right? And then you're going to go ahead and put it under the damp towel and let it sit room temperature on the counter or in the oven, which, you know, we're going to get to soon. But I'm just telling you, this right here, your dough should not be flaky like this. For a few seconds, you're going to see me, you know, struggling. Just letting you know, this is not how your dough supposed to look. My phone did die, and I went ahead and fixed it off camera. Just letting you know that it can be fixed. It can be fixed, all right, y'all? But, you know, let's say if you don't mess up. But, okay, so you're making your dough. You done added your flour, salt, and oil to the yeast mixture. You got your wooden spoon until the dough formed. You're going to knead it for about 10 minutes until the dough is smooth and soft and elastic, right? And you're going to move on to your first rise, okay? Still at rise. Now, lightly oil a bowl and place the dough inside of it once you done got it all like that, right? You're going to cover it with a damp towel and let it rise for 1 to 2 hours or until it doubled in size. Now, with bread dough, you want to make sure that you are going by looks and not just time. I'm trying to give time frames so you know But you're really, because your house temperature may vary, your oven time may vary. You may be using a hand mix, I mean, or you may be using a stand mix. So not necessarily time, but you're gonna go by look, feel, and temperature and all that. But times are approximate. All right. The best location for what we call rise or proofing is going to be your oven or your countertop. And when I say the oven, your oven should be off, because I know somebody going to try to put that plastic bowl in the oven with the oven on. Don't do it. Stop. Make sure your oven is turned off, but with the light on if you prefer to let it rise or proof in the oven. But if you don't trust yourself to make sure that the oven is off, or if you cooking at the time that you're trying to make bread, or if your oven is warm, or you don't trust that your children or somebody in the house ain't gonna turn the oven on without looking in there, just do it on the counter, okay? I know that, people got a lot going on. We got other people living with us and all these other things. Just do it on the counter, all right? So I like to do mine on the counter because my children, be doing things they ain't supposed to be doing, to be done turned the oven on. Now they burnt the whole house down. I ain't got time. So I proof mine on the counter with a towel over, just one of them little kitchen towels, okay? And I proof it on the counter about an hour. An hour is ideal because it's kind of winter here, so we got the heat on and stuff like that. So an hour has been good, hour and a half, and I look to make sure it's done doubled in size. The bowl, the same bowl I use right here, so it's not see-through, but I can tell because you see it poking at the top of the towel. You don't see the little, the size of the towel. And just going back, you see how that dough is flaky? That's making me a little flaky Pillsbury dough right there. That ain't what I was looking for. So that's why I was saying, ooh, I had to add some more moisture to it. It wasn't the end of the world. I've been baking, things for a while now, so I knew how to troubleshoot that. I just didn't want to have to abort the whole video just because that messed up and my phone was dying, so I wasn't unable to record and show y'all on camera how to fix it. But yeah. So you're still on your first rise. This is where I was going ahead and fixing it and stuff. So that bowl is oiled. You can see by my hand that the bowl is oiled, and I went ahead and put that towel on top of it, okay? And then in this next frame is going to cut to after I've already put the loaves separated. Now that towel is damp. I don't know, it's the same towel, it's damp at this point. You see I have 3 loaf pans because that big one is way bigger. So that's those 2 are the same, is half of that big loaf. So yeah, got these 2 pans from Dollar Tree, and then a friend of mine gave me those that big old pan. So yeah, so it's the same dough. It just made the equivalent of 2 loaves, but because those loaves are so small, they made 2. So this is an egg wash. It's just 1 cracked egg with a splash of water in it, and I'm going to brush the tops of those loaves with them to give it that golden crust, okay? And then my oven has been preheating at 350 while I was doing this whole egg wash thing. So just preheated for about 5 minutes. And I'm going to place my loaves in the oven uncovered. No foil is necessary. For my oven, if your oven has hot spots or it's older, or if you choose to put a thing on top of it, you can. I could not find a fork for the life of me. I don't know. I think my children are eating the forks. They're eating the forks. They're eating the spoons. They're eating the straws, child. So I had to use a spoon. I was struggling, honey. So I went ahead and put the egg wash on top of the bread. As you see, it has doubled in the pan. I did a second rise. I don't know if I told y'all that. A second rise is not necessary. You can put it in the oven after the first rise, but the second rise, to me, makes or breaks your bread. So that second rise, I let that dough rise for additional 25 to 30 minutes until the bread had risen or proofed until it was almost to the top of those smaller pans. I can't really measure it in that bigger pan because the bigger pan is so big that you can't really tell that it risen, whatever, so that's why I proofed. That's why I went by the visual cues of the second pan, the 2 smaller loaves. So you see me brushing the egg wash on there. Make sure I got it all on the sides and on the tops, and you will see, because when the loaves come out the pans, that there's a little brown on the bigger loaf. It's because the egg wash dropped down on the sides of it. It's okay, it's all right, it's still gonna taste good. And then in the next frame, you'll see me putting them in the oven. They were in there to about 30 to 35 minutes, or until I started really smelling them. My house was smelling like a bakery, child. Again, you don't have to let that second rise happen, but I highly, highly recommend it, okay? But if you're just in a hurry to have some bread, go ahead and put it in after the first rise. But go ahead and, that 20 to 30 minutes of that second rise really matters, really makes or break your bread. In those pans, once you put them in there, those pans are greased. Let it, for that second rise, or if you're not going to let it rise the second time, please make sure those pans are greased so they slide out the pan easily, honey. Don't be in here fighting with your bread. And when you are separating them, make sure you're tucking them and, you're getting into the shapes. And this makes a good biscuit dough, makes a good dinner roll. So shape it into what you want to shape it into. Okay. Place them in there. You can place them on the top rack if you like. I just always place them in the middle. Nope, I don't think it really would matter. I think it may make your tops of your bread darker or whatever because it's closer to the heating element or whatever in the oven. But that's me trying to show you how the time, but my watch wasn't closer. I just literally let it cook. I went by the smell because I honestly wasn't watching the time. That's me taking it out of the oven. Making sure I turn the oven off so I don't forget. And when I took them out of the oven, I just brushed the tops with some melted butter. And then I left them in the pans for about 5 minutes after I brushed them with the melted butter. And then I took them out of the pans and let them cool for about 20 to 25 minutes before I sliced them. I know you're tempted. My kids was lurking around because they smelling this bread. They seeing me doing all the things. Making bread is a longer process. You could have went on somebody, I could have went to the store and bought this bread by now. You could have. You really could have. But this ain't for you. If you got that mindset, this ain't for you. Go ahead, buy the bread with all the preservatives and ingredients in it. And then when they shut the store down, the show shut down because there's ice on the ground. They cut the food stamps off. Marble Throat done told you can't eat it no more. Agent Orange and his cabinet of wigs and told you that you can't eat it no more. They, told you that you're eating the dogs, you're eating the cats, and everybody in the store grabbing you by your genitals. You go ahead and you keep that same energy. This video ain't for you. Okay? Keep that same energy. In the meantime, in between time, we gonna be in here making us some bread, all right? Okay. So I took me some butter and put it on the top of the bread. And again, I let it cool or chill out in the pan for about 5 minutes, okay? And then I took it out of the pan and let them cool and chill. The bread was still warm when I did cut it, okay? But I let it chill in the pan for about 5 minutes, and then I took it out. And let it cool for about 20 minutes before slicing it. The children ate it with some strawberry preserves, with some peanut butter. I know I told that word up. If y'all ain't watched my videos by now, y'all know I can't say that word, honey. And then some jelly. And as y'all see, that's 5 minutes later, they pop right out. It's hot, so that's why I'm handling them like that. That bread is hot, 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 hot potato 1, hot potato 2. Them bread is hot, honey. Hot. Okay? Hot. I don't even want to touch it. That thing hot. You hear me? Hot like fire, okay? Hot, okay? Hot. And just let it sit there and cool. It was so tempting to cut it, but you don't want your bread to fall apart, okay? I do got to get better with shaping my bread so it don't look all ugly on the end, but honestly, I'm not trying to be aesthetically pleasing. I'm trying to make sure, we got some bread at home, because the way my children eat bread, baby, it's cheaper, because that bag of bread honestly cost me $4, and I can get 6-7 loaves of bread out of that $4. And I can tweak the bread to make pizza dough or whatever. Like, I can make the loaves as big or small as I want to. I can make French toast. I can make King's Hawaiian bread. I can make dinner rolls. I can make biscuits. I can make pizza bread. I can make bagels. I can make whatever the hell I want to make with it. You know what I'm saying? I can make a garlic toast. I can make whatever I want to make with it. Look at that. Look at that. And look how thick that bread is. Look at that crust. Okay? And that is homemade. Can't nobody take that from you. Once you know how to make this, can't nobody take it from you. Can't nobody take it from you. You now know something. You now have knowledge, and can't nobody take this from you. If you get food stamps and they cut the food stamps today, nobody can stop you from going to the store with $5 and buying some bread. The yeast in the jar, which is equivalent to 16 packets of yeast, nobody can stop you from that. I made this with water from my tap. Can't nobody stop you from that. This is half a cup of sugar. Or you could use honey. Can't nobody stop you from that. I didn't use a stand mixer. I used my hands. Can't nobody take that from you. Okay? This made 3 loaves of bread. You can give this to your neighbors. You can take this and give it to a homeless. You can give to a person in need. You can feed your kids with just this all week. Or you can do, this is 3 weeks of bread if you want. If you want, you can do 3 weeks of bread just right here. And make sandwiches. If you're a single person or you're on a fixed income, you can make sandwiches all week depending on how you want to slice this bread. Can anybody take this from you? If you learned something, if I taught you something, say thank you, Mom, of all things in the comments.